Welcome back. Let's start off by setting up our SQLite scores project. All right, so all of our stuff today is up in GitHub again. So let's go ahead and download this from here. If you're just going to be copying the zip, no problem. Just go ahead to the link and do that. I have included a link to some instructions here. If you're more interested in learning how to use GitHub, cloning things, and then go ahead from there, then follow the link and read along if you want, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm noticing that as I pulled mine up here, that it says that my project has no project.properties file. If you want to fix that, you can go ahead into there. And then it looks like mine is targeting Android 15, which is version 4.0.3. You're welcome to update that if you want, right, to whatever version you're using. All right, so let's go ahead and start off and looking at seeing what we have here. So we'll start off by running the code. Okay, got it up and running here, and we should be able to do all the CRUD things, but without actually any real backing. But we can create something. So if I want to create a score here, so let's enter. Bob has a score of 70. Oops, let's put him on a separate line here. Bob has a score of 70, and add. All right, we see that we get it there. We could add another score here. So let's have Jen has a score of 95, add. All right, it keeps them sorted. So there's my creation. I'm clearly reading them, right? Right now it's just probably right out of an array list. If I want to update them, all right, I can click on one and it'll let me do an update. All right, no, Barb really get a 75. And then we could do a delete here. So if I long press, it'll ask me if I want to delete, and I can, right? So that's what we get. So it looks super, right? Other than the fact that we're using old style dialogues in the code, which I suppose we'll see shortly. But the other bad thing is that all of this right here, as I rotate my screen here, we see that there is no real persistence, right? So we need to do something much more interesting than what's happened so far. All right, so looking at the code, a few different things. The first thing is our model object. So score.java is basically going to have just right now a couple of variables, right? So it's going to have a name, which is a string, and that's just the person's name, and then their score, which is we'll just limit it to an integer here, and it stores their score, right? Code should be not a surprise at all. Essentially just these few lines here. We have a comparison method here, and it implements the comparable interface so that we can sort them, right? And then there's a simple toString that we used for display. All right, what else do we have in here? The next thing is the data adapter itself, right? So the big idea here is that a data adapter is going to enable us to go back and forth between the model and the database itself, right? And specifically between individual instances of the score and then rows in our SQLite tables, right? So this is where all the action is going to happen here. We're going to have to add a lot of stuff in here, right? So we're going to need to open and close the database, and we'll actually create a class to do that. There are all of our methods for CRUD, as we said, are all going to happen in here, right? So there's a lot of work, right? If we look at it right now, there's not much there to get us started, really just a few constants, right? So in here, you'll see that we have some constants here for the name of the database, for the name of our one table inside that database, and then a database version, right? And essentially the database version is going to be used if you ever had to upgrade the database by changing the rows that are, or changing the columns that are in it. All right. So big fat to do right here, lots of stuff for us to do. Thankfully, a lot of work has been done for us in the main activity, so we're going to actually do very little with the GUI on this particular project. We're going to start off here with a list activity. This is our first exposure to a list activity, and all it is essentially it's an activity that has a built-in list view, an array adapter, and then we're going to use an array list of a score. Of scores, and then of course we're going to be given a listener to edit a score, right? So we'll take a look at list activity in a second. We have an action bar already there for you. And we have a context menu for deleting and editing scores. We have stubs for CRUD methods, right? For calling the CRUD methods, we should say here. And then some old dialogues to add and then update in the existing score, right? So we've already seen these things running. Let's take a look briefly at the code. You're more than welcome, of course, to look at it on your own. So as we said right here, we're going to extend list activity. So what does this mean? Old style dialogues. My apologies, that's just the way it is. Let's see, so we have some backing here where there are an array list of scores, right? And then we have an array adapter that we've created. You'll see that we are not grabbing a list view specifically. We're doing things a little bit different here. So list activities have a set list adapter method that you can pass in the adapter that you're going to use. In our case, it's just this array adapter that's just going to give us simple views and that array list. Sort of bind those together. And then a line of code here to get the context menu. All right. Not going to go through all of this. Like we said, there's some old style dialogues here, so some things that are deprecated. But lots of code here that is be interesting. We're most interested in the things here that like adding scores. Right now, how do we add a score? We go ahead and add it to the array list. We resort it. And we tell our adapter that it needs to update, right? Not that much going on here, but of course this is all gonna change to pull things out of the database, right? So, so we're very interested in these parts of the code here. All right, so what we're gonna do is to get ready for our database code, and we're gonna kind of take a leap here, leap of faith. We're gonna remove all the arrays, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and get rid of the array list and the array adapter. Both of these are going to be replaced, and then we'll comment out everything that depended upon it, right? And see what happens, right? So let's go ahead here, back up to the top of our activity. Let's find the arrays. Let's see. So here's our array, and here's the adapter. Gone, right? So, all right, of course that's going to break a lot of everything, right? So I'm going to go ahead and comment these guys out here, right? And then I'm going to scroll down until we get into the CRUD mechanism, and go ahead and within these methods start blowing a lot of things away. So this method returns a score, so let's have it return null instead. And a few things here. Let's see these couple lines. That's a void method, so that's okay. Another void method, and it compiles. Of course, it's not going to display anything now, so it's very, very broken. And indeed, now you're a captive audience because now you have broken code. Come back for next time when we start to work on the database itself.